I'm gonna make a video that I wish I had access to when I was in my situation. I know that there are other people who are probably in the same situation and are probably looking for videos just like I was to get advice or look at other people who were in the same situation. There's nothing really out there. I didn't see much, and I know that it'd probably be helpful to someone. And so advice on what? As the title of this video is for anyone who's not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and is dating someone who is a member of the church. Most people recognize the church members as Mormons, but that's a slang term. If you're watching this video and you fall into that situation, I'm guessing you have family breathing down your back, telling you all the stereotypes that you'd find on Reddit, telling you, if you're a girl, maybe your family's telling you, oh, he's going to abuse you. He's gonna make you a subordinate wife. He's gonna marry multiple wives. He's going to brainwash you. He's gonna convert you. I'm really basing these off of what my family was telling me. It's pretty extreme, overwhelming stuff if you're not immediately familiar with the religion. That's a lot of information to take in, and if you're like me at the time, you're probably anxious, super unsure of yourself. Maybe you feel like you have no control over your life, your decisions, your ideology especially. My dad was telling me that I would change without me noticing, that I would become a different person, that any decision that I would make would actually not be my decision, and that it would be one influenced by those around me, telling me that I would lose myself and I can't trust myself. Also is a lot to take in, and it can make you feel very anxious. I think I had my first panic attack, actually. Not a serious one, but I remember I was talking to my dad, and it was the first time I let him know that I was dating someone that was a Mormon, and he surprisingly blew up. He surprisingly was very against that and was giving me all of this information, bombarding me with the stereotypes and bombarding me with fear. And the first year and a half of our relationship, unfortunately, was filled with this anxiety, filled with this fear. It was a really emotionally taxing time to try to keep myself in the middle between my family and someone who I really liked. And just to share a little bit of how extreme it was, I lived with my sister at the time. She also was very disapproving of the relationship. I couldn't speak out loud with him in the apartment. I had to always put my headphones in, whisper, pretend he didn't exist, and keep him out of my family's lives to ease their anxiety of being associated with this person that's part of this church. My family never got to meeting him until after we got married. So we were dating for about 2 years, and I've offered multiple times if they wanted to meet him. And obviously, since they were so against the religion and kind of decided who he was based on what they've seen online, we actually had to elope. I didn't tell them that we got married. We actually planned a wedding initially, and I invited them hoping that they would support and realize this is a serious relationship. But they responded to me with their own response, and it wasn't gonna go that way. So we canceled the wedding, pulled our deposit. I told all my friends, sorry guys, we're actually canceling this wedding. I'll keep you updated on if it gets postponed. But we ended up just eloping because, taking into consideration the whole situation, how much I would have actually enjoyed my family being at the wedding, it wouldn't have been an enjoyable experience. And the best way to go would have been to have a personal, intimate ceremony eloping. So that's what we did. We eloped at the San Francisco City Hall, and it was great. It's an interesting battle. Like, you're trying to convince your family that you're not going to change, and you're trying to keep your sense of self. You're lifting your walls. You're distancing yourself from your partner, saying, I'm not going to let you manipulate me. I'm not going to let you influence me. But at the same time, confused, because being around your partner so much, you see how great of a person they are, how the values they have, how respectful, loyal, selfless they are, and how that contradicts what everyone around you is saying. I've always seen my dad as right. I've always seen my parents as right. And to have them give me contrary information, it was hard to choose my judgment over a figure who I've always chosen over myself growing up. So my advice to anyone going through the situation, first, know that you're not alone. I went through that for a year and a half, almost 2 years, all the way through marriage. And there's a reason why I stayed in that relationship. A big piece of my advice is to study yourself. My family got a lot of their information from Reddit, but Reddit or not, they were basing their judgment off of other people's experience. Study yourself. For me, that looked like going to church, listening to what the speakers had to say, the flow of the sacrament, the hymns, the lessons afterwards. So that was my first thing, is going to church and seeing, okay, what are they actually preaching? What are they actually teaching? And making a judgment from that on how I felt and what I saw to see, is this something dangerous that I should watch out for? Of course, I just saw messages of gratitude, serving others, following Christ. To sum it all up, being a good person and having good morals. That, to me, does not scream danger. Next, which takes a little bit of effort, but when you like someone and you want to see if this future will work, you will do whatever it takes. And so I decided I'm going to read the Book of Mormon from front to back and study it and see if there's anything in this book that I find controversial, that I find dangerous, or anything that I don't want to associate myself with. I read the Book of Mormon, and as I'm going through the book, I start seeing truth in it, which I was not expecting. This is without anyone telling me, this is how you should read it, this is why it is true, and this is why this is that. I was just reading the book in my room, and I felt a certain way. I continued reading it. I didn't tell my partner I was reading it because I didn't want any influence. I wanted this to be completely my effort because brainwashing was such a huge theme of what my family was throwing at me that I thought, okay, I will make it impossible to be brainwashed by someone, and I'm going to just study it myself. I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm just going to do it myself and make my own decision and choose to follow that decision. That in itself, choosing to study yourself and make a judgment call for yourself, already eliminates 100% of the anxiety that you had, because you're no longer, there's less of the unknown. You're no longer being scared of something that you're not sure about. You're no longer hearing things third hand from other people. You're now directly exploring the resource and you're going, oh, this is what it's all about. This is what the religion is. And based on what I've seen so far, this is the judgment that I want to make for myself. So reading the book was a huge thing, but it was my second effort. The third thing, which you can do even before reading the book or going to church, is meeting with the missionaries. Now, you have to have a sincere heart to be able to even reach out to the missionaries, because a lot of people are like, okay, stay away from me, don't talk to me, you're going to brainwash me. All the same things that you would hear. But again, if you genuinely love someone and you want to try everything you can to see if this relationship will work, you will reach out to whatever resource you have to learn more about the big picture to then make your own decision. The missionaries are a great way to learn about the religion. Their calling is to teach everyone about their religion. And of course, they hope that people get baptized, but that is your choice. No one is forcing you. And that was such a huge thing for me, is that everything is a personal choice. And if you feel there's a wall there or some force that's pushing you to make a choice, that's not right. And people in the church will agree, that's not right. It has to come from you. If you took a peek at my YouTube channel, in my bio, I have a biblical verse. Given that I wasn't religious at the time of dating him, you can probably assume that I did get baptized and I did join the church. How I feel about that decision is something I can't put into words, because it's not something that I expected to happen. It's not something that I feel someone else influenced me about. It came from the book. And it's fine if people want to put me into the box of you got manipulated, you got brainwashed. But when you read the Book of Mormon, which I read that and then I read the New Testament and I found connections between the two, my testimony is unbreakable. And I, funnily enough, super religious now. I wasn't religious before, now I am. And I finally understand where that strong testimony comes from, because when you have experiences with God directly, from no one else, from God, and you know it's God. And I'll put some verses up here just to kind of explain how pure that is, how direct that is to have experiences from God, and how peaceful and straightforward it can be to discern whether those experiences are from God or not. Once you have those experiences for yourself, no one can take that away from you. Only you can take that away from yourself. And I don't mean for this video to be a go join the church. Like, I genuinely advise you to study the church yourself. Because if you stay listening to all the voices around you and you personally do not go and study yourself, you will always be anxious. You will always be unsure, and your relationship is not gonna go far, because that is not sustainable. You cannot stay anxious, you cannot stay unsure, and you cannot be quivering in the wind. You need to be grounded and you need to study yourself. And then from your studying, make a decision. If you read the Book of Mormon and you're like, oh no, I don't like this, and your decision is to walk away from the relationship, okay, but you've made a decision and you've studied yourself, and you've be proud and glad that you're making a decision that you have put effort into. Or maybe you read the book, you feel inspired, you feel peace, and you study more, and now you want to join the church. Beautiful. For me, my family was causing me so much anxiety, yet having peace through Christ and building a relationship with him has kept me grounded. And looking back at my almost panic attack at the very beginning when I first told my dad about the relationship and how that has that feeling of panic never comes back when I read the Book of Mormon or when I read the Bible or when I watch Bible videos of Christ. Easter is coming up. And that's a verse that I'll probably put up about peace and how everything from God is peace. Anything that's not peace is not of God. I might have butchered that. I'm new here, okay? But I might have butchered that. But that's the message. I'm hoping that people who are in my previous situation find this and are able to get something from it. First, go to church, see what's being preached, experience it for yourself. 2, read the Book of Mormon. And don't be thinking, oh, I'm reading it, so now shoot, I'm converted. Like, just read it objectively, with an open heart, sincerely, just read it. And you don't have to tell anyone, just read it in the corner. And if you don't want anyone to see, put it in a book cover under the blanket, like, that's what I did. I didn't want my sister to see I was reading it. And it's a very personal thing, so just read it by yourself, And then 3rd, reach out to the missionaries. They're so sweet. Their goal really is just to teach people of Christ and give them the opportunity to either decide to make a covenant with Christ or not to. You have that full power. So yeah, those are my 3 pieces of advice. And I hope that, this brings comfort to anyone who's in a situation. And if anyone finds this and you have any questions, leave a comment and I can answer based on my experience. I could even get my husband to respond to people in case you want to get his perspective as someone who is a member and what he was thinking and all of that, because it was a pretty volatile time. A lot of trust in God on his part. I hope you found this helpful. Best of luck in your relationship. I wish you the best and happy study.